We are preparing the live stream and it is running.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you to all the Ward 1 residents who took the time to apply for the City Council vacancy. The fact that we have so many interested and qualified candidates makes Broomfield such a great place to live. So thank you all for stepping up to be of service. We'll start with opening statements, and you'll have a minute to provide kind of an opening statement that shares a bit about who you are and why you're interested in representing Ward 1 on the Broomfield City Council. And we have an order, random order. We're going to start with Matthew Shepard.
Were you covering the first question at the same time, or?
No, it is just your opening statement.
You're Matthew Shepard, usually go by Matt. Moved to Broomfield 2009. Seems like it's been yesterday, but I guess that's what, 17 years ago now. Wife here, daughter here, 9-year-old daughter. We live in Highland Park South, so I guess just north of 120th and Sheridan. If that Highland Park South doesn't ring a bell. Business owner locally. Um, We've got multiple businesses that do anything from construction to marketing and etc. And I met with Julie, and I was kind of talking about how I've kind of got a lot of my businesses and etc. on automations. So now I feel like I've got some time to give back to the community, and happened to just randomly see this post on, I guess it's Facebook or Instagram, and decided that I should check into it.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we'll go to Katie Harness Hemmer.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Katie Harness Hemmer. My pronouns are she, hers. Thank you so much for taking the time to give us this opportunity. I understand the last minute vacancy urge to fill it. I have lived with my family in Broomfield for over 4 years now. We love the atmosphere of Broomfield, the urban feel with having so many trails nearby, and we love the character of Broomfield and we want to preserve it. I currently work at the Boulder Public Library District as a youth services specialist, where I interact with the public regularly, give story times. I've been always wanting to help make people feel included, building an inclusive community, making others feel their voices are heard, especially now that Broomfield is becoming more intergenerational and more mixed socioeconomically. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, Katie Peterson. Did I say it right? Peterson or Peterson?
Peterson.
Thank you. I got a 50-50. Go ahead.
Love Broomfield. I moved to the Willow Run neighborhood back in 2005, and I've raised my kids here, enjoying the great features of this town, including the open spaces, rec centers, and library. And I value service, so I volunteered with the kids' schools, multiple women's groups, Broomfield Housing Department, and so many Broomfield Days booths. I also value community. I've been an active part of the Refuge, which is also in Ward 1, since it started 20 years ago. And as the Refuge has evolved into a community hub that has programs supporting the under-resourced in our community, I've come face to face with the struggles and of our friends and neighbors and the toll that it takes on the nonprofits to meet the growing needs, especially as federal funding decreases. And I've seen the difference that it makes to show up for people one-on-one. And as rewarding as that is, I know I could make a greater impact on a policy level by being a part of City Council.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next, we'll go to Joel Niles.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm Joel Niles, and seeking to serve Ward 1 because I believe deeply in public service and Broomfield's commitment to thoughtful and community-centered governance. I've lived in Broomfield 14 years and in Colorado nearly 3 decades. Throughout, I've spent my career in the consumer packaged good industry, working closely with a wide range of retail businesses, building relationships, solving problems, and understanding the importance of listening before acting, which are great qualities for the council. So now that I've retired and I have the time and the flexibility to fully dedicate myself to serving the community, I want to work collaboratively with fellow council members to protect what makes Broomfield special, make informed decisions rooted in transparencies, and ensure we're planning responsibly for both today's residents and future generations.
Thank you very much. Next is Samara Ziadi.
Good evening, Mayor Castriota and Broomfield City Council. My name is Smarziati, and I've spent my entire
Did she freeze up for y'all? You're frozen,
life in Broomfield in
Samara.
Ward 1. I started.
You froze up.
Oh,
That's okay. Continue. You're back.
okay. I sorry. On the Broomfield Teen City Council, which taught me how local government works and how important it is to listen to people to find solutions to challenges in our city that reflects our community's values. I'm currently serving as a senator on CU Denver's Student Government Association and working on the Finance and Funding Committee. This has given me real experience with budgeting, allocating resources, and making decisions that affect a whole community. I've stayed active in Broomfield through the Broomfield Dems and Sister Cities, as well as assisting on various political campaigns. I also represented Broomfield as a youth delegate at the National League of Cities Conference in DC in 2025. Effective government starts with showing up, doing the work, and staying connected to the people you serve. I would like to be selected for Broomfield City Council Ward 1 because I believe in bringing that same dedication to the role. I truly love Broomfield and I'm ready to work hard for the city. I'm excited for the future we can build.
Thank you. I gave you a little extra time because of the freezing problem.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Next is Katie Swoboda.
Hi, everyone. I'm the third Katie of the night. I moved here to Broomfield in 2023 from Texas after my parents relocated here. And like many people, I came here for the family and I stayed because of the community. I'm a proud dog mom of 2, and some of my favorite moments are the everyday ones, walking my dogs through our neighborhoods, meeting neighbors, and experiencing firsthand what makes Broomfield such a special place to live. My background is in public service and education, and I've built my career around listening, problem solving, and bringing people together. Those experiences shape how I lead with empathy, transparency, and a focus on practical outcomes. I'm running because I want to help ensure Broomfield remains a place where people can afford to stay, feel connected, and thrive. Ward 1 deserves a representative who listens closely, shows up consistently, and leads with care, and I would be honored to serve our community in that way.
Thank you. Next up is Samantha Tillotson. Hope I said that okay.
Tillotson. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and fellow vacancy applicants. My name is Sam Tillotson. I live in Ward 1 with my husband and our 3 girls. I've been educated here in Colorado. I was born and raised in Denver, and I went to school at Metro State where I obtained my bachelor's degree in business management. I then worked for a local insurance brokerage for a couple of years and went to law school at DU, and I'm now a civil litigator at a Denver law firm, and I've been in practice for about 10 years. I've applied for this vacancy and plan to run for the Ward 1 City Council seat in the upcoming election because I believe I can be a powerful voice for Ward 1 residents, leveraging my training and experience as an advocate to tackle challenging public policy issues with a thoughtful consideration that would center on continuing and expanding the work of the council to ensure that residents have access to affordable housing and transportation.
Thank you very much. And finally, Jennifer Freeman.
Wow, that's quite a slate, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. So thank you to all of you for stepping up. For almost 2 decades, I've worked with governments and organizations of every size, category, across multiple states, across the political spectrum, to solve complex challenges that directly impacts people's daily lives. I've been active in Colorado's civic and political landscape since 2007, building the experience, network, and perspective to understand not just how policy is made, but how real solutions get delivered. I moved first to Broomfield in 2009. And at a time now when division and ideology too often turn neighbors into adversaries, I believe we need civic leadership that prioritizes thoughtful, collaborative, local leadership to achieve the best future for our community. I'm prepared to step into this 8-month council term and beyond on day one and ready to contribute to make an impact with all the experience, relationships, and resources at my quiver.
All right, thank you all so much. We got through round one. The next is our first question. And the question is, what would you do to increase housing affordability in our city? And how does your approach to local control and land use factor into that solution? Probably required you to do a little homework if you're not paying attention. So we're going to go in a different order now, and we'll start with you, Joel.
Thank you. Affordable housing or income-aligned housing is one of the most significant challenges facing Broomfield. It affects all of us living here, whether we're seniors, lifelong residents, young families, and members of the workforce who want to live in the community they serve. I support the inclusionary housing ordinance as an important step in expanding housing access to housing opportunities. That said, affordability requires a multifaceted approach. Local control is essential. We understand our community better than anyone else. Through thoughtful zoning updates, strategic infill and redevelopment, and collaborative partnerships with developers, residents, we can create housing options that align with our character and our infrastructure capacity. At the same time, we must recognize Broomfield's limited remaining residential land. That makes careful land use decisions even more critical. I strongly support maintaining our goal of 40% open space because preserving quality of life is part of what makes housing here desirable in the first place. Ultimately, affordability, land use, local control are a balancing act. My approach would be measured, transparent, and rooted in collaboration, ensuring growth serves the community rather than outpaces it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Katie Peterson?
I'm currently on the steering team for the Broomfield Housing Stability Task Force, which was formed to address the $15 million a year funding gap between the current needs of our residents and the available housing resources. Knowing that the city budget is already stretched, this task force is evaluating various mechanisms that could be used to help fill that gap. As a city council member, I would support a ballot measure based on their thoughtful research. I would also look to the Broomfield Housing Solutions Forum, a network of 40+ local agencies that created the collaborative housing strategy last year. The key elements they found for increasing the supply of affordable housing is through new construction, preservation, and support for rental and home ownership. I know that Broomfield has worked very hard to retain local control to limit oil and gas activity, and I feel it's equally valuable to fight for that with regard to housing, so that our residents have a say in development and our infrastructure is not compromised. Not so that we have an excuse to do less, but so that we have the freedom to do more in ways that work well for Broomfield. I would also support high-density mixed-use zoning around transportation hubs. And with the passing of the multifamily construction incentive program, I'm hopeful that we can facilitate a resurgence of condo development, providing more accessible entry into the housing market. And I'm open to considering other changes that effectively use our land to support business growth and expedite the availability of income-aligned housing.
Thank you. Jennifer Freeman.
Thank you, Katie. That feels like a bit of a cheat. Katie's got a lot of expertise in this in a good way, and it's nice to have that kind of expertise in in Broomfield. First of all, this is a difficult question to answer in 90 seconds because it's so complex, and there are lots of levers that we can pull to address it. First, for all policy matters, it's crucial to have a good grasp of the circumstances. Specifically, 2 questions. What are the contributing factors to the cost of housing, and what levers do we have to pull as council members and civic leaders to address those factors? The first thing I would do is speak to stakeholders and experts to get as much information as possible before making any decision. Second, I get creative. Let's explore what's in our toolbox, what's in our policy toolbox, investigate the non-policy levers that we can pull as civic leaders through partnerships and collaboration. I'm not beneath poaching good ideas where they work. If they work there, let's look at see if it'll work in Broomfield. Third, I would examine regional collaboration for shared solutions and shared resources in partnership with our housing authority, the state, our neighbors and community partners. Fourth, and finally, really important, I would join my colleagues across the state to address construction defect for multifamily housing ownership. In my opinion, that and getting our transit system in order are the two places that the state really can make an impact. At the local level, that's best left to the local government.
Right. Thank you very much. Samantha Tillotson. Dedicated.
I think that equal access to affordable and sustainable housing is absolutely vital to ensuring the safety, health, well-being, educational opportunity, and economic prosperity of all of our Broomfield residents. And like my fellow candidates, I do not think that there is one magic pill that would fix the housing crisis. Instead, I think that it is a problem that calls for a wide range of creative solutions that would also keep Broomfield residents as the ones who are ultimately making decisions about how to implement affordable housing initiatives in their own community. And I would make every effort to sustain our longstanding history of self-governance at the local level as a home rule city, understanding that there will be some push and pull with statewide initiatives that seek to implement statewide housing crisis solutions. As a council person, I would seek to increase housing affordability in our city by centering decisions on a handful of principles. First, I would support increasing the amount of housing in Broomfield with a specific focus on the most vulnerable to housing insecurity. Second, I would support tying any public funds or resources expended to housing projects that will provide housing to those who have historically suffered the most significant barriers to housing access, namely low-income families and individuals. I would prioritize housing projects that provide targeted, affordable housing, mixed income development, especially where there is density or upzoning allowances. And I would make sure that we hold developers accountable for these high standards.
Thank you. Matthew Shepard. Are you there, Matt?
Yep, I'm sorry, I was on
Okay.
mute for a second.
That's okay.
I just wanted to say again, I moved here in 2009, and probably for the same reason as a lot of people did. In Boulder, it would have cost me twice as much to get half as much house. And I like to be close to the foothills. My family likes to be close to the foothills, like to recreate. And we moved here because of the value. So I want to be able to allow other families to move here for the value too. The costs have definitely risen in the last few years, and we need to keep making sure that we allow people to move here. The rents have risen, and a lot of the people who serve the community, teachers, first responders, tradespeople, all are getting priced out of the market. So we need to definitely keep it in mind. I see an interesting path that a lot of people think about is how can we facilitate more permitting and more development through just streamlining the process for developers, streamlining the process for general contractors, and et cetera, and make it easier to build, but also keep in mind what the community wants built.
Thank you. Next is Samara.
I agree with the other candidates. This is a very intense problem. And I also believe that the Broomfield Housing Alliance is making great efforts to provide affordable housing in the Broomfield through projects such as the Grove at Cottonwood and Harvest Hill. There remains a large population in Broomfield that is relying on RVs as the primary source of shelter. And while this leads to issues surrounding where these people can park, it currently is being tackled in Broomfield Ordinance 10-12-015, and it allows for the housing insecure population of Broomfield to use RVs as a shelter. I believe this is the best economical solution that pairs well with the constructed housing efforts that I also just mentioned. When thinking about RV use as a solution to affordable housing, I believe there are three key factors to consider related to local control and land use. And those three factors are as follows. We need to find land where these citizens can park. We need that land to have acceptable zoning, and we need other residents of Broomfield to support this. So the path of least resistance that would accommodate the three considerations would be to seek approval from Walmart or similar retail locations to allow for long-term parking of RVs. Walmart already allows for RV parking, and each store sets their own policy. The Walmart on 120th and Sheridan, it's located near the mobile home park already, which highlights acceptability. And it's also allowing RV parking, which is highlighting zoning. The unused portion of their parking lot includes approximately 4.4 acres, depending on the density, and that could accommodate approximately 22 to 66 RVs.
And
I
your
believe
time has expired. I'm sorry. It was a lot of information to pack in, but thank you. Next is Katie Harness-Hemmer.
Thank you. This is a lot of great perspectives, great ideas that I've heard. I think we can all agree that, once again, as everybody has been summarizing, that this is a very complex issue. There's not really a straight answer that's going to make everybody happy within Broomfield because, as we know, we love our open spaces, but we also want to promote our businesses, keep our education well balanced, and having the right population coming in, because we basically pretty much have exponentially grown as a county and city since we became a county, basically. And housing affordability is a challenge for working families, pretty much. I think Broomfield's already started doing some really great work, such as protecting NOAHs, and increasing like the cash in lieu for developers to try to make sure that the developments that are happening are really necessary and not just like a checkbox, basically. I would like to ensure that we protect those NOAH rentals so that we can keep housing affordable and make sure that like some redevelopment isn't always just luxury. Another thing that we could do is just to ensure that the cash in lieu are being high enough, just to make sure that what's being developed is pretty much necessary as well. And 4 seconds left. And okay, so never mind. It's stressful.
You got a lot in there. And finally, Katie Swoboda.
What an honor to go after everybody. And so I'm sorry if some things are repeated, but everybody has great ideas. To increase housing affordability in Broomfield, I would take a locally driven approach that expands housing options, protects current residents, and applies proven strategies from communities facing similar challenges. First, we need to responsibly increase housing supplies, especially missing middle options like duplexes, triplexes, and accessory dwelling units, by updating land use policies in areas where infrastructure already exists. Thoughtful density helps lower costs while supporting connected, walkable neighborhoods. Local control is essential in this process. Residents should have a meaningful voice, and the city should set clear, predictable rules so development aligns with community values and affordability goals. Local control doesn't mean stopping growth, it means guiding it intentionally. I've seen what this can look like in practice. Through the Jeffco EDC Peer Community Leadership Exchange, also called the Pickle, I had the opportunity to travel to Boise, Idaho, and learn directly from local leaders addressing housing affordability. One model that stood out to me was Leap Housing, which partners with cities to create permanently affordable housing using tools like land trusts and public-private collaboration. Those experiences reinforce that affordability doesn't happen by accident. It requires intentional policy, strong partnerships, and a commitment to long-term outcomes. I would bring those lessons back to Broomfield by advocating for locally tailored solutions that preserve affordability, prevent displacement, and ensure growth benefits for the whole community.
Thank you. Great job, everyone. Moving on to question 2, which is a very Ward 1 specific question. What are your thoughts on the town square development? Given the history of delays, what impact do you think it will have on Ward 1? And is there anything you would change about the plan if you could? Samara, you're first this time.
I am so sorry. You cut out for a second. Can you repeat the last second? I'm so
Absolutely.
sorry.
What are your thoughts on the town square development? Given the history of delays, what impact do you think it will have on Ward 1? And is there anything you'd like to change about the plan if you could?
First of all, when it comes to the town square planning, I know that it's been going on for a long time. And I feel like I know it's private land, correct? So I feel like I know we can't necessarily do anything about it quite yet. But I feel like the way it is impacting Broomfield, or is impacting Ward 1 specifically, is there is all of this space and there is all of this area where we could put like RV housing, or we could like put something else where like the old drive-in movie theater used to be. Um, it's just unfortunately like, since it's like all of this space and it's just not open to the public, which makes it very tricky to continue developing our community. Um, if I could, I would talk to the other candidates first of all, and I would try to collaborate with them to see their plans. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's a good answer. Next, Jennifer Freeman.
Thanks very much. I know this is kind of an intractable issue that's been going on for a long time that none of us had an awful lot of say in. So I appreciate the labors and energy of council and Mayor Castriota, you and your economic development team on this issue. I know that there have been strides made, and I know that as I understand it, council is going into executive session to contemplate next steps on this particular issue. Maybe looking at what legal levers are available to the city to see if we can move things along, because this is our community, maybe the developer's land, but this is our community, and seeing an empty, gigantic building when we have housing needs, economic development needs, and a developer just sitting on it is really frustrating. I think there are things that we can be doing, which is increasing transit in the area, walkability. Is there infrastructure that we can be putting in for whatever gets developed there? I think those are things that we can be looking at as a city in the meantime.
Thank you. And just to clarify, that is Broomfield property, but we conveyed it to the developer. So that was our portion, which was generous in my opinion.
Incredibly generous. You're a very generous person, Mayor.
And so next, Katie Swoboda, you're up.
So the town square development is something that's very close and personal to me, and something I'm very passionate about. I love sharing that information with people who don't know about it. I'm like, can you believe they're going to build this town square? That being said, the long history of delays has understandably frustrated residents. Delays create uncertainty and erode trust, especially for Ward 1 neighbors like myself. If I could change anything about the plan, my focus would be on three things: clearer and more consistent communication with residents, stronger accountability around timelines and deliverables, and a better integration with surrounding neighborhoods. That means safe pedestrian and bike connections, thoughtful transitions to nearby homes, and infrastructure that supports and not strains Ward 1. Overall, again, I'm very passionate about this, and this is something that I'm very excited about. So I hope that this is something that if I get appointed to this position, we can hit the ground running with.
Excellent. Thank you. Katie Peterson.
I am very excited about the town center. We have a lot of great opportunities for businesses to move into various parts of Broomfield along the corridors, but this is like specifically for us to create a center for our community. And though the delays have been frustrating, I'm very hopeful that we will see progress soon. I don't know that I would change much, but I would think while we're waiting, it's really important to continue promoting excitement in the community by keeping people updated about what's going on so that they can still have hope about it, and to work with business owners to get them moved in as soon as possible once there's someplace to move into. Broomfield has proven that it can be successful in attracting popular brands and chains, but I would love to specifically encourage local and regional business owners to move into that space, creating more walkable areas to live and work in. And we may be able to do that by providing incentives. Oh, my time's up.
But great job. Next, Katie Harneshemmer.
Thank you. This is something that's like super exciting, and I don't really want to I feel like there's so many of us with really great ideas and really great mission to like help Broomfield and going along with Katie, which just said Katie's together basically. This is a really great initiative. It's many years in the making. I think this would also really help the housing affordability with all the apartments that are being thought of being created. But having just a walkable center, I think that's something that a lot of us are looking forward to. It's to where I don't think if it's even if it's delayed, I think while the community is really looking forward to it, I think as Katie was saying, we can find some initiative and including them more and including the communication, improving the communication between the city and the public and even the council would really help everything, keeping updates. And like Katie said, getting everybody excited, not to kind of copy everything, but I don't mean to. The Katie's like.
All right, thank you very much. Next is Samantha Tillotson.
I am also very excited about the town square development. And I do think that many Ward 1 residents are also excited. In particular, I think that what's exciting about this development is all of the economic opportunities, the walkability, having restaurants as well as housing and a community center that offers sort of this third space for community building is very exciting. And I know that there's supposed to be different shopping opportunities there, and I think all of it is very exciting. And it also offers considerable affordable housing in the district, and it is much needed. So I don't know that I would change much except for continuing to improve communication with residents about the timing of the project, especially because of, that waning excitement and trying to harness the excitement for it.
Thank you. Noted. And Matthew Shepard.
I guess we're all on the kind of the same page that we're all looking forward to this development. I think most people are. I've been watching the progress ever since, the grocery store, I keep forgetting its name, shut down, Safeway. Um, Excited to see more walkability, more town center feel, and then the mixed use that would have residences and restaurants and commercial available both. I would want to see how we can try and expedite the process once somebody starts actually digging dirt. Can we work with the developer to make sure that they've got inspections scheduled and got inspectors going to get everything going? Um, I think we're pretty good on walkability and infrastructure in Broomfield, but we could probably make it a little better and connect it to some of the feeder trails there.
Wonderful. Thank you. And finally, Joel Niles.
So this has been an interesting development, and I can definitely understand the frustration. I know it's really popular for the entire community of Broomfield. Yet for those Ward 1 residents that are driving by an empty grocery store and a kind of a rundown looking strip center, it's got to be very frustrating. So I would think that once this project gets rolling, strong communication, whether it's community meetings, but to keep the residents informed. The impacts has been mentioned by the other candidates, of course, income aligned housing, all looking forward to local retail. The change I might look into is, being that we are under the driest winter in Colorado history rather, this focus on a water feature, I think, really needs to be revisited. And I might be the outlier on that, but I'm just very concerned about that. And thank you.
Well, you're not an outlier, and I was just waiting for that to come up. So there.
Well,
All right. That wraps up question 2. We're going to move on to the final question. And it's how do you plan to maintain Broomfield's financial resilience as a maturing community? And which city responsibilities would you prioritize as budgets tighten and costs rise? And you get to start us off, Katie Harness-Hemmer.
All right. Um, so I understand that we are kind of in a deficit, quite a bit in millions actually. And kind of understanding that we're going to still have to keep the same services that we have while providing even more for the community, um, while kind of having a tighter budget, basically. One things that we would have to prioritize, I think, would probably be ensuring the the prolongation, the future of Broomfield. Um, I would say that possibly prioritizing I would say the infrastructure of the older neighborhoods as well. I feel like there's a difference between the higher taxes that you get for the newer communities versus the lower taxes for the older communities. The higher taxes for the the newer communities could help us kind of balance that out, and also kind of prioritizing maybe going into the affordability and having the developers with their money. Sorry. The 60 seconds. I'm sorry. Thank you.
That's not a lot of time in your defense. I'm sorry, y'all. It is tight, but we were just trying to make it efficient with so many people. But I got the gist of it. Where were we? Oh, Joel, back to you.
Thank you. This is a challenging situation, both locally and nationally. As I understand, Broomfield's looking at potentially a $15 million shortfall going into 2027 budget. The priority, I think we have to prioritize such things as that's made Broomfield special: recreation, but not forgetting our infrastructure. We have to keep our infrastructure updated. To not get in a situation where we've got residents upset as what just happened with our water. And I also think that we need to make sure that our social services take a priority, because that's so important in keeping the character of the community. And I'm sure there's a lot more, but I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Katie Peterson.
Well, looking at the 2026 budget, Broomfield, it seems, has been incredibly intentional about keeping their debt ratios low and investing in capital improvements for long-term sustainability. Since the city and county comprehensive plan is up for its 10-year review, I think it's a great opportunity to look at how we've been allocating resources over the past 10 years and adjust based on our successes and our challenges. We'll have to continue prioritizing our obligations and mandates, but also do the hard task of evaluating our programs to see which ones are doing the most good, both socially and economically. And as we reflect on how far we've come as a city and county, we can make data-driven decisions to fund the programs that we need the most moving forward. And I just have to say, it's really important to not only listen to residents about their needs and desires for the community moving forward, but to incorporate their ideas and provide a feedback loop with transparency.
Awesome. Thank you. And going on to Jennifer Freeman.
Thank you. A lot of people before me said many of the things that I probably would have said, but I would reiterate and echo kind of what they said, continuing on with the capital improvement projects and prioritizing where it's appropriate and most urgent. That's number one. Number two is what are your staff telling you? Where can you prioritize in your budget? Where can you cut? Where really shouldn't you? And really rely on staff, because they tend to have robust archives of information and access to information that is much more in depth. Item number three is continue our public safety. One of the things that I love most, and one of the things that made me feel safe best about raising a family in Broomfield, was how safe it was. So continuing to support our police, fire, and first responders. And then finally, economic development. Commercial properties raise much more revenue than residential. Residential is so important. I don't want to dismiss that, but that's where our revenue will come in, is on economic development.
All right. Thank you very much. Samantha?
I absolutely agree with the other candidates that we would need to take a collaborative approach, that we allow all of our residents an opportunity to be heard about the services that are most impactful, and that we collaborate with staff and those doing the work for the city to really evaluate what is having impact and what isn't. That said, I think that I would focus primarily on health and safety and economic prosperity and the budget items that serve those things. So, I would focus on affordable housing because I do think that it is such a pillar of safety and education and all of these other things. I would focus on funding our first responders who keep us safe and all of our civil servants who provide such important public services. And beyond that, I would focus on economic prosperity and ensuring that we continue to have creative solutions that are going to bring businesses to Broomfield and allow our residents to fully be economically prosperous.
All right. Thank you very much. Samara?
Thank you. I would focus on fiscal responsibility. I would prioritize the police and fire department. I would always also prioritize maintaining roads and infrastructure. I would try to think about homelessness and public services. I believe these are the core services that we need to maintain in our city to make our city continue to be as beautiful and as amazing as it already is. And by focusing on core services, we can maintain the services that people want to keep the budget in control and not raise taxes. And I would also collaborate with all the departments to make sure that I'm addressing everyone's needs. Those would probably be my main points. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Matthew Shepard.
I'd actually applaud, the government in Broomfield at this point because it seems like they've kept the budget in pretty good shape and been fiscally responsible. I'd like to want to continue that. And then also, I think that we can find little wins here and there that can start to move the needle when you add them all up. I think we could probably find ways to increase revenue through commercial taxing on commercial development. And I think we could also find little ways to save money in different spots. I would think that we could spend less on some road work. I've seen some road work in my neighborhood, and I wonder why they're doing that and it doesn't mean anything. And then I also understand that like our piece of the pie is getting smaller and smaller because everybody's taking a piece of it. So it's definitely a main issue.
Yep. Thank you. I'll tell you about pavement preservation another time. Next is Katie Swoboda.
As a balanced budget isn't just about cutting, it's also about planning ahead, involving the community and making smart, accountable choices that protect both today's needs and tomorrow's financial health. I would prioritize maintaining infrastructure and services we already have, similarly to the other candidates said, our police, our fire departments, our parks now, because deferred maintenance only becomes more expensive over time. At the same time, strategic economic development matters. Projects like the town center have the potential to strengthen our local tax base, support small businesses, and create jobs that generate sustainable revenue over time. Responsible job growth helps stabilize finances without overburdening our residents. So I would also focus on that. Financial resilience isn't about reacting in crisis. It's about steady stewardship, smart investment, and making sure Broomfield remains strong today and financially secure in the future.
Well, great job, y'all, on round 3. We got through the questions. So our last thing we're going to do is closing statements, and there'll be 1 minute. Again, not a lot of time. Provide a statement with any other information you want to share with us and why you should be chosen for the Ward 1 vacancy appointment. And Katie Peterson, you go first this time.
Well, I just want to confess that I tend to be pro-growth and pro-change. But as I dig into the current issues, I can see that there's a lot of nuance in all of it. I believe that part of my role as a city council member would be to communicate the pros and cons I see associated with the proposals so that Broomfielders can make informed decisions. Because I'm not looking to fill this seat as a way to push my own agenda, but rather to listen to the residents of Ward 1 and represent them fairly. So I commit to doing the research, working with City Council as a team, and making myself available online and in person so that I can stay connected to the people I represent. And And as a city council member, I would live out my values and my love for Broomfield by helping it to grow in healthy and sustainable ways that benefit its businesses, nonprofits, and residents.
Thank you. Samara?
Thank you again, Mayor Castriata and Broomfield City Council. I want to reiterate that my experience has shaped the kind of council member I intend to be. From serving on the Broomfield Teen City Council to representing our community at the National League of Cities conference, I've seen how effective policy is built through informed decisions, collaboration, and commitment to long-term planning. My work as a senator at CU Denver has strengthened that foundation, giving me hands-on experience impacting an entire community. And through my involvement in Broomfield civic organizations, I've seen firsthand what works well and where there might be opportunities for improvement, ensuring that the community's input is taken into account in our decision-making process. I'm applying because I love Broomfield and I believe I can be transparent, accountable, and focused on solutions that benefit our residents today and set us up for success tomorrow. If you want a council member who approaches every issue with thoughtful preparation, consistency, and a deep respect for this community, I'd be honored to earn your support. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Matthew Shepard, do you want me to call you Matt? I feel bad. Matt.
You're welcome to call me Matt. At this point, it's kind of done now,
Okay,
right?
we know each other. Matt.
I just wanted to take a second to thank everybody that applied. I was pleasantly surprised that we had 8 people that, I guess it was 10, and then 8 people decided to continue through. So I thought that was pretty good engagement from our community. And it seems like everybody's positive on that, and that's awesome too. The one thing I think that we could do better as a community is messaging. Everybody's talked about that throughout the night. Messaging on the town square project, messaging on this, messaging on that. Um, I thought maybe a water issue would be a bigger issue tonight, and I did a little research on that, and there's not a lot of messaging going out. There's a lot of messaging available, but we're not getting it out to the people. So I'd like to be able to come on the council and be there for our constituents to get the message out and be available to them. It's a big priority for me, is because I feel like a lot of times people aren't available.
Wonderful. Thank you. Jennifer?
Thanks very much. And thank you again to the other candidates who have stepped up. For me, so I grew up in Florida and Eastern Pennsylvania. And as a kid, I had the rare fortune of coming back to Colorado to see family because my parents are from here and experience what make this place so special. My parents moved back here in 1998 and built their retirement home up in Berthoud. And when I'd come home to visit, when I was a college student and a young adult, I would go down and visit my grandmother in Arvada, and I would take 287, and I get lost really easily, but I always knew where I was when I came up to Broomfield. I drive down 287, see the houses on the east and the view on the west, and think, God, what a beautiful and amazing place to live. Living here and serving here would be a dream come true for me. I raised my daughter here and really want to give back the things that Broomfield has given so much to me and my family.
Thank you. Katie Harness Hemmer.
I just want to say thank you again so much to the mayor for facilitating this forum and to the council for their time. I have enjoyed listening to all of the candidates' answers and their perspectives. I don't think there's a wrong choice from today's forum. As councilwoman, I would make sure that I'm working for the community and ensuring that the community has buy-in by listening to their voice. I would ensure that Broomfield stays prosperous, and that we bring in more businesses, and that we have a bright future that's equitable and sustainable. I look forward to meeting everyone in person next week. And I just want to reiterate that by working in the libraries, and I have worked in nonprofits before in Boulder, in which I've advocated for youth with disabilities and their families. So my mission in life has basically just been supporting people and making sure that everyone is included. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Katie Swoboda.
Ward 1 needs someone who can step in immediately, understand the issues before us, and make thoughtful, responsible decisions from day one. And I am ready to do that. Not just myself, but everybody on this meeting right now. And I'm so honored to be with you guys. Ward 1 deserves a representative who not only understands the challenges ahead, but genuinely cares about this community. I love Broomfield. I chose to stay here. And I can't wait to make this my home for the next 60 years that I live here. My background has taught me to listen carefully, ask the right questions, and move from discussion to action with transparency and accountability. I take seriously the responsibility of protecting taxpayer dollars, maintaining our infrastructure, and planning thoughtfully for the future. I'm truly honored to be considered alongside other incredible candidates who care deeply about Ward 1. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Joel?
Well, thank you again for the opportunity to be part of this process. I care deeply about Broomfield and Ward 1. This community has been home to my family for 14 years, and I don't take lightly the responsibility of representing it. And at this stage of my life, I have time, flexibility, and the perspective to serve with focus and dedication. Through my personal or professional background, I've learned how to listen, evaluate information objectively, and I feel a strong suit is building productive relationships, skills that are essential in local government. If appointed, I'll approach this role with humility, lots of preparation, and a commitment to collaboration. My goal is simple: to help ensure Broomfield continues to be a community that balances growth with quality of life, makes thoughtful long-term decisions, and remains responsive to its residents. I would be honored to serve Ward 1 and work alongside you in that effort. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Samantha.
I've been so inspired seeing all of the work that all of our council persons do here in Broomfield. It's so clear that all of you take so much pride in the work, and you're so thoughtful in approaching complicated policy issues and ensuring that all of our residents are given an opportunity to be heard, all while keeping the health, safety, and well-being of Broomfield residents at the center of your work. I would be honored to be part of that. I believe that my extensive community involvement and experience and training as an advocate makes me uniquely situated to be an influential community leader and powerful voice for Ward 1, and maybe one that can fill the big shoes left by Kenny Wen. I think I bring a high level of enthusiasm, a diverse background, and a collaborative, thoughtful leadership style. And my policy positions would align with former Councilman Wen's, with a focus on affordable housing, protecting residents, thoughtful land use, fostering economic development, and policy initiatives that will ensure all residents can pursue happiness here.
Thank you. You guys wrapped it up pretty quickly. So we can go back to the full screen if that's possible, James. You can take out this shared. So that was amazing. It's like speed dating. And if you think that's speedy, the council members that are on right now, they're actually going to do that tomorrow with boards and commissions appointments and do roughly 6-minute in-person interviews with, I don't know, 90 people. So that's always a kick. But I do appreciate you guys taking the time for us to get to know you a little bit better. And just thank you for stepping up and being willing to serve Broomfield. We have a little extra time. I just want to remind everyone that we're going to actually vote on the vacancy at the next meeting on February 24th at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. And then the swearing in for that appointee will be at the March 3rd council meeting, and there'll be more info coming with that. But that concludes the forum. If you have any questions, since we have a little time, I think council is willing to answer any questions, or might as well. We have you all here and you have us. So does anybody have any questions about the role or time commitment, or I don't know, anything? Let's use our time. Come on, no question?
What do you all hope to see in the next colleague that joins you on council? I know there's a lot of people to go through to answer that question, but if anybody wants to jump in and respond, especially Councilmember Twist, who would be your colleague in Ward 1.
Would you like to answer that, Julie?
I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the job is being on the spot. It's pretty much the whole thing. Um, I just first want to say I am so proud of Ward One right now. I have so many amazing neighbors who are willing to, put aside, time, carve out time in their busy lives doing things to be a part of this process. And, you know, it's really amazing. And you have restored my faith in humanity a little bit. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate all of you so much. I am looking for in this person who sits by me. It helps if you bring snacks. No, um, I'm looking for a thought partner, someone that I can talk to and, work through problems with, someone that I can split time with to go to things because there are a lot of things to go to. Um, just a real partner to work with and yeah, figure out ways that we can do this the best we can and meet the needs of the rest of our neighbors. Anybody else? I think Councilmember Hinkle.
Yes, Heidi.
You.
Thank you. We're going to popcorn to each other. So if someone else wants to raise their hand on council, feel free, and I'll popcorn over to you. Thank you all for joining. It takes a lot of guts to get up here and just be impromptu, introduce yourself. When I ran for the vacancy in January, I actually threw up about 15 minutes before it. I was so nervous. So physically, sometimes this takes a toll on you. And so you guys all stepped up, and there's thousands of people in your ward who didn't. So you have already all won, first of all. And I would say that I really appreciate the efforts in reaching out to city council members as well. So if you haven't already, do reach out to some council members if they have an extra 10-15 minutes to just talk with you about issues that they really care about. Some major issues that I care about is just making sure that you try to understand the issues, and when you don't know, and that's okay too. Asking thoughtful questions, really take into consideration, we're in a time now where our economic development really has to take off. We have approved 6,000 housing units, and we're still waiting on a lot of those housing units. And the only way that we can get funding for housing is by economic development. So we are actually in a huge economic development phase, and we can't be raising taxes on people. And so any sort of, ballot initiatives where you are asking us to raise taxes is going to be probably a hard no in Ward 5, I know for sure. And just the affordability piece. Affordability is not just a slogan that we take on. It's something we really dig into. How do we actually make it affordable for people, and how do we get creative? So I really appreciate all of you being here tonight. And I don't think I have anyone to popcorn to. No one else is raising their
Well,
hand.
I was actually asked the candidates, our wonderful candidates, have any follow-up questions that sparked during the conversations about any of the projects? Well, I'll go to Councilmember Del Castillo. Paloma.
Thank you, Mayor. I was wondering if I could ask the candidates one question. I know we prepped in advance, but I'm wondering if you would allow that.
Any objections? Seeing none? Okay.
This is like my favorite hiring manager question is, what do you wish we asked you? What is the question? Say the question and then what your answer is. What did we not ask you that you wish we had asked you?
That is a great question. Okay, Katie Harness-Hammer, your hand went up first.
I was kind of preparing just for a question of what matters to us, basically. What do we want to see as initiatives? And I would have responded with communication, improving communication. I try to include that in my answers regarding the council with the city and among the people, the public that is, because I hear a lot from my neighbors that they, say like they don't know exactly what's going on. And then of course just like the infrastructure because I do live in an older neighborhood. And yeah, so that's kind of like what I was kind of preparing for. But thank you for that extra question.
I love it. Katie Peterson, you're next in my screen.
Oh, I was also going to, I was expecting to be answering a question about communication. And what I wanted to say was that the Broomfield Voice website is great. And it provides a lot of information, but I think that that could be expanded quite a bit to include other information such as summaries of the city council meetings, maybe links to the current budget and the 11D7 appendices associated with it. And even include information about what's going on a state level, so in ways that affect us, so that our community can be more aware of those as well.
That's great. I'm taking notes, and I couldn't agree more. Next I have in line is Jennifer Freeman.
Thanks very much for the question, Councilmember Delgadillo. I'd be interested to know if you all are interested, what we think you guys are doing right, and then maybe what we would do differently, or maybe enhance, or add to, or maybe subtract from. But really leading in on there's so much great work, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't have so many accolades as a community that council's doing, and it would be that would have been a question I would not have wanted to prepare for. But I'm glad we had the opportunity to answer some of your questions. But that's a question that I would have hoped to have gotten maybe.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Katie Swoboda.
Yes, thank you so much. My favorite question to ask during hiring processes is what part of the burger are you? It kind of gets you to know the candidate a little bit better and gets to see just a little bit different how they respond in those moments. A question I wish I would have been asked is what are you going to do if you get appointed? What's the first thing that you will do? And my first priority would to be getting out there and listening to Ward 1 residents, concerns, and just hear what they have to say, and take those decisions back to the council, and let you know what I heard.
I love this. This is great. Matt?
I thought I was at the end of the line there. Sorry. Wasn't prepared to come off mute. I thought we might talk about the water rate issues since that's a super hot topic right now. And again, I think it goes back to messaging and getting the word out and etc. But I also wonder if we can come up with partnerships with local businesses that would come in and check toilets to make sure that they're not leaking or etc. or faucets and all these little things that you can do to conserve water because we're also going to have to conserve water because again, like somebody else said, it's the driest winter on record. So we're going to have to conserve. And then if you conserve your water costs go down, your water bill goes down. So I just think that it would have been nice to talk about that and get out that we could do better on our messaging for that.
Agreed. Thank you. Samara.
I was expecting a question along the lines of how would you advocate for minorities in your community? Working on Pride, I work on Broomfield Pride, and it's very important to me to have a very inclusive community. So specifically, I was expecting like some question to do with LGBTQ plus. But I was also like expecting just something about minorities in general.
Noted. And next is Joel.
So I would agree with Matt. I had thought we would be discussing the water because that seems to be such a hot topic, both every ward, it's all of us. But the other question would have been is how would I serve the remainder of the term if appointed? And I was thinking about that, and I've always addressed things. I would have responded. I don't address things in a rash way, but really being taking in a lot of information, communication, messaging, as which has been mentioned several times by the other candidates, and just preparing, listening, and participation would have been my responses on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think everybody's responded to that question. I just wanted to again extend, let's see, I saw Todd, was your hand up? Samantha, did you go yet?
I have not.
Oh my God, sorry, go back. I thought I crossed you up, but I was wrong. But please go ahead.
No worries. The question that I had wished I had been asked was, how would you navigate representing a diverse range of individuals who might have completely different points of view than you? And I think that, my approach would be to really focus on building community and communication. I think a lot of the other candidates talked about communication, but focusing on building platforms where we can share ideas and create forums where we can really understand where we do have like-mindedness, and that we don't just have differences, that we don't fall into just red or blue, right? And that would be a big focus of mine. And I also, I spent a lot of time in my career learning how to navigate working with individuals who might have completely opposite points of view than me. And I think that, focusing on trying to really drill down on what is motivating someone, what their pressure points are, and how those things impact their lives is so important in advocacy, and that would be a key focus for me.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Were there any other burning questions from council? Anybody wanted to put out, or do you guys want to wrap it up and go reclaim our evening? Because you could be going a lot. All right, well, I think I just want to extend the invitation. Reach out to us individually if you just want to chat. And I'm sure all of us would be happy to spend some time with you answering questions. And I hope you can make it to the voting next week. Thanks again for putting your heart into this and for loving Broomfield. And we will talk to you guys soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night, y'all.